Hi there, my name is Kendrick, and today I get to interview Jared. So, Jared, welcome, man.
Hey, how's it going, Kendrick?
Good, dude. Yeah, good to have you. Can you tell us your full type, please?
Yeah, so my full type is INTJ, double masculine, NITE, blast play, consume sleep, social type 2. Dang, that's a song, isn't it? Jeez.
You are a two. I thought you said you were a one before. Did you?
Oh shoot, I forgot. I'm a one. Oh man, I had it so in my identity that I was a two, and then Dave said I was a one. I was like, oh shoot, that makes so much more sense.
Yeah, all good, man. All good. All right, man. Let's jump right in. So, what did you think? How did you feel when you got your typing results back?
I was like vindicated. I was like, I saw the NI because I posted my typing video in the unofficial Facebook group, and then people were like, "Oh, you're NE, oh, you're SE, oh, you're OE, all this stuff." And I was like, "No, I swear I'm NI." And then as soon as Dave said NI savior, I was like, "I'm smarter than everyone in this community. Whatever. I get OPS better than y'all." And that's my ego talking, but no, I wasn't surprised at all. In fact, before my official typing, I was thinking I was almost any TE play blast or something like that. But yeah, when Dave was telling me that I was an observer, he told me that I was like the most OE observer out there on a spectrum of OI. So
Right.
yeah, not surprised, but I was just like, dang, yep. I was surprised by the double masculine because I had a friend tell me that I was double feminine. And I could feel it like interiorly, of course, because
Yeah.
oh, whatever. But no, the double masculinity came out. I was like, oh shoot, how did Dave see that before I even saw it? Because like it started to make a lot of sense. I was like, yep, I see that double masculine freaking everywhere, man.
All right, dude. So you said you're like the most OE of this specific type, and you're not the first person I interviewed with this specific type, but the other person I interviewed is a female version of you. Um, and
Who was that?
um, you know, shit, I'm blacking out for some reason. How did I forget her name? I just talked to her.
She was like wearing a blue shirt, right? And she
Samantha,
like looked
Samantha,
Hispanic.
Samantha,
Okay,
Samantha.
yeah. I
Um,
actually saw her video a few times because I was like, dang, this is the female version of my type. I feel like her and I would vibe very well.
yeah. And then people also think she's an ESFP. So, like I think you guys give up that like EP vibe for some reason. Maybe
Yeah.
it's like the high play. Which we'll cover in a second because I think it probably makes sense once we cover the parts. So let's start with the first one. Which is probably not gonna be the most obvious thing, even though this is your first animal. NT blast. How do you experience it?
Okay, so remember seeing, I probably saw your video once about NT Blast. Could you kind of give me a refresher what that is? I know it's NITE. Like, what would that actually look like usually?
Right, for sure. So with NT blast, usually um NT is responsible for problem solving. So
Hmm.
you're giving solutions to the tribe in a very organized and concise manner. And it's not a two-way street. It's not like play. It's like I'm giving you a solution and I don't care to hear like anything else because it's just like a one-way thing. It's a one-way thing. It's whatever you organize and you're giving the solution to the tribe. Of course, the only thing that's flexible is the TE part. But yours is also masculine, so maybe it's not as flexible as like um the other INTJs, but your NI is feminine, so maybe like the concept is flexible. But how do you personally experience it from your perspective?
Bruh, I roll my eyes because I just had this insight today. Like, I've been rolling my eyes and like spit taking like in this whole time that I've been in the OPS community. Because as soon as someone like identifies something in me, it's like, I hate you because you figured it out. But yeah, I had the insight today that like I'm a good presenter, I'm not a good teacher. I've been doing teaching classes and stuff because I do religious seminary teaching for high schoolers, and one of the things that they emphasize is more facilitating a conversation, right? So having the students talk to each other about different concepts and stuff like that. And I was like, I don't really do that naturally. What I do is presenting. I'm a really good presenter, so I can like synthesize information, condense it down into an understandable format, right? The whole organizing, and then present it to the tribe. So I am an augmented and virtual reality software engineer. I'm also transitioning now to AI, and I've been using AI and trying to like teach the tribe, hey, this is how you use AI for good. This is how we can like leverage it, in the OPS community or at church or at work. And so I'm like taking these concepts that like I latch onto and like teach it as passionately as possible. Even today, I did a presentation about augmented reality and what it means for the future of this company. So yeah, there's my NT blast.
Gotcha. So I guess it is a one-way street because it's from the presentation standpoint as opposed to the facilitation standpoint.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. With that being said, though, you come across as an EP, you said, to people, and I think it's probably because your play is double masculine, so it's gonna be the most obvious one, and it's double activated. So it's like you're probably gonna be using your play more than your blast, when you're not doing your presentation, you know. So can you talk about
Mhm.
like how abusive that ST play of yours is, especially because it's double masculine, double activated?
Bruh, I wish I could understand what ST play like really tangibly looks like, but I think I remember flirting a lot. I don't know if that's like ST play, but I was just like, I don't know if flirting or like getting in a conversation is ST play, but I think I need a better understanding of what ST play is because the only here's I thought ST play was sometimes when I need to understand something, I'll like talk it out with the tribe, like other people, like, hey, tell me your perspective. Tell me your perspective. Here's my perspective. Let's try and figure this out together um, through talking about what we both see. Is that sort of it?
Yes, but you're a weird type because you're a social one with double activated play, which is like a contradiction, and it's gonna cause a lot of what's the word I'm looking for here? Cognitive
Friction?
cognitive
Oh,
dissonance in yourself as a result, because you're
mm,
low friends but you're high play. So, and then David Chan said that the animals overpower the social type. So the play is gonna overpower your need to be number one and like low friends, which is kind of good because then it's gonna help you actually. So let's talk about that uh you know that dissonance that's happening in you. Like what's going on?
dude, you have no freaking idea, man. Like Dave in his audio was saying, that's this cross wiring makes you like one of these types that like you have to figure it out, right? Like, as if I was an IJ and a social type 3, I could just like specialize in my thing. If I was an IP and social type 1, life would make sense.
Right.
But I'm cross wired, like what you said, the
Yeah.
cognitive dissonance. Now I'm just like, I'm an IJ, but a type 1. And it's the worst thing in the world because it's like so I've been having like a huge mental health issue over the past year, and
Right.
one of it was just like me beating myself up because of now that I can identify it, like my type 1 tendencies. Or I was like, I want to be the best, I want to be out there and stuff like that. But just like the fact that I need the tribe and part of my identity, part of my what I consider being type 1 is to be part of the community, is to be part of like the greater world. And so it's just like, on the one hand, I want to grow to be like a very big asset to the community. On the other hand, I hate the community.
Double deciding right there, man.
Yeah. Oh man. And when Dave called that out, I was like, yeah, I can see the double deciding, and I can definitely see the freaking single observer, man. Ugh, it's the worst.
um, yeah, for sure. Because like, Steve Jobs is an INTJ, but he's number one and he's double activated sleep. So for him, it's a perfect fit. But yours is not a
Mhm.
perfect fit. Yours is like a mess, right?
Dude, I'm a walking contradiction. Like, it's actually almost validating because a lot of the issues that I've been having is just like a huge upsurge in self-hatred. And like, uh, I'm married, I'm an employee doing like really hard things in terms of like trying to figure out the future and stuff like that. I have 2 kids under 3, and I have a third one on the way. So I'm just like jam-packed, full of stress.
Yeah.
And so, so like the whole self-hatred thing, I could tell like there was a bunch of like conflicting parts of me that were just like on top of the stress. I was just self-imploding. Um,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah, I think
also contradictory.
yeah.
You're employed and you're number one. Like, shouldn't you be the boss? Like, it doesn't make any sense, right?
You would think. I'm fortunate enough. Okay, so here's how I see it, right? I was hired on to be the AR VR prototyping engineer for this major global company. I am the number one person who knows everything there is to know about this technology. I've been doing pilot, I've been making things, testing it out, doing a bunch of stuff, getting my name out there. So I have the freedom and capacity to be that number one with the safety and security of having that corporate backing for my family, right?
Right.
So
I guess you're still an IJ in the end. You still want safety. So
yeah, for real. Like I do dream about starting my own business and stuff, but I really think about it like after I have that financial security, like, oh, here in a few years, hopefully I can be a millionaire and have a decent enough backing so I can just go do my own thing.
right.
Yeah.
That's crazy how the IJ-ness is still like overpowering the number one also. Like this the seeking of safety is still like the king, you know?
Yeah.
So you're like cognitive dissonance on top of cognitive dissonance, you know? Like so many like cross wiring there that it must be driving you crazy, man. Like how do you function with all that like
Why why do you think I got into this freaking community, man? Like I went to therapy. I started doing CBT, DBT. I'm in a DBT skills group. I've looked up internal family systems, been doing a bunch of meditation with stuff like that, active imagination, Jungian functions, and now OPS.
yeah.
Because I'm trying to figure myself out, man. Because I'm a freaking like nuts, and now this community is telling me I'm also freaking nuts too. Like,
Okay, okay, like it's kind of interesting because outwardly you're a success, outwardly, but internally the cross wiring is messing you up. So, like, would you say you're a success then from your own perspective? Because only ultimately you can decide whether you feel successful or not. So, would you say you're successful because of your outward success, or do you feel like not quite there yet because of all like the internal miswiring and whatnot?
you know, the days that I feel like I'm successful are the days where I don't hate myself. Now I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing. And so the feeling of success comes and goes. Um, like when I feel like I'm on top of the world, I'm like, I made it, I'm good. But then like I don't know if you can see it right here, but I track my mood and the days where it's like really low, I don't feel like success. Like outwardly, I can have all the things, but inwardly, I feel like an imposter. I just feel like I'm going to lose my job like any day now or something like that. And it's just like, yeah,
Oh man. Well, we're gonna get there because that's your last animal. I think the problem is your last animal, really. Let's go over so let's continue with the play. So part of ST play is collaborations with the tribe. And it's
mhm.
like actually like physical collaboration, like moving or setting something up physically or um just like the actual grind, because that's the ST, right? Is in collaboration. Do you see yourself doing that, or is that something you don't really do?
When we talk ST, like programming, like actually laying down the typing, sure, I can do that pretty well. I like it, once I'm not overwhelmed, I know what I'm doing and I value it, and I need to go see how it's linked to getting me to that top type one success. I can do it very well. I like it. Also the home, and since I'm a father, there's a ton of ST that I have to do in conjunction with my wife. And so sometimes like trying to figure out those systems and getting it to work, it can be really good. Um, Dave in his audio talked about setting up a table. I was like, setting up some things, right? Like actually doing that ST play with the demon SC. Oh man, that's when I get triggered sometimes. Like actually
Really?
like functioning, yes. Oh my gosh, like
But
sports, I hate sports.
but you're double masculine. Like, wouldn't that help you in some way? Or no?
I don't
Like,
know. I don't know, man. Like, so the thing is, I was surprised about the double masculine. I seriously thought I was feminine SC because I kept latching on to the idea of like masculine S is like timeline thinking, and I don't do timeline thinking very well. And so masculine sensory was like, okay, sure, whatever. But I don't like. I guess this might be an IJ problem or an INTJ problem, but like I don't like being in a state where I am in a physical chaos and simultaneously I have to interact with other people.
oh, okay, that's weird. So you are you good in sports, or okay, so there's a difference between not liking sports and not being good at it. Are you good at it but you don't like it? Or are you bad at it and you don't like it?
Probably both. Like I think I can manage it. Like I think I can pick it up. Like if I'm in a relaxed state, if I'm like actually intentional about it, I think I can actually do pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, better than like what I assume like the geeky IP or INTP or whatever maybe.
Right.
I don't know. But I just don't like it because it brings up a lot of triggering like I don't know. I feel like I was the awkward kid in gym class and stuff like that. Like I like working out. I love hearing when you were talking about going to the gym and stuff like that. Like for me, going to the gym is not a problem. I love getting to that habit. In fact, the only reason I don't go to the gym that often is because of more like logistical issues with my wife, or just like, I feel bad because she has to take care of the kids, or sometimes we need to spend time together. Like those issues are harder than actually me going to the gym or wanting to go to the gym.
Right. Okay. I guess the fitness side is okay. It's the sports side that, we're just like flying objects coming your way, which is like the SE, right?
Or
But
like camping.
you hate camping also?
Yeah, like I can do it and I can find joy here and there, but I would never intentionally go out of my way to actually do it myself.
How are you with driving? Like, are you okay with like weaving between cars and stuff? Like, no problem.
Driving gets a little bit there. Like I like driving. But actually now I think about it, I hate city driving, which is the weaving through the cars.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
weird, man. Like, you really don't like your SE, which is weird because it's double activated. So I would assume that it would be better off than like the average IJ, but you seem very IJ-ish for like someone that's like
My
not seeming very
yeah.
IJ like. So it's
I
weird.
want I wonder if my SE, I'm trying to think about where my SE comes out a lot. Like I love like really loud music. So like I love going to the club if I can. I don't go often, but I
Yeah.
went to a music festival recently and I love that. I love the beach. The thing is I do like going outside. I do like hiking, but I won't plan it out myself. Maybe that's the other thing too. I don't like planning to go out hiking because I'm like I'll go if a bunch of friends or like a church activity takes me there. I'll do
Right.
it. I'll like it. But like for me to initiate that, never.
I guess it's still low SE for a reason, like you're still avoiding it even if you're double masculine, which is um it helps a little bit, I guess, but still not enough. It's still bad. Um
Yeah. Dave kind of seems to compare it to just like the consuming, because like I'm consuming things from the tribe and stuff like that. So like
yeah,
when it comes to like research, like statistics, information, like I use AI to like grab a bunch of information and synthesize it so I can like enhance and augment my SE.
yeah.
In that perspective, I can see SE. But in like
Okay.
the kinesthetic, not really.
Oh, that's so weird. All right. Well, let's talk about your consume. Maybe we'll find more there. Your consumes SF. Um, how do you it's in a hobby state, so that means you're still doing it. There's still that you stuff that you enjoy and you will consume. You're not like those INTJ that's like absolutely clueless at like what's happening in the world. You know enough to get by. Can you share a little bit about your demon but or hobby SF consume?
So I think the SF is more visible, obviously, because I don't know how the animals all correlate with me specifically, but like I've been getting more in touch with my SF consume as a way to just recharge and allow myself to do that. So I love Tears of the Kingdom. That's like the only video game that I play, but like I love playing that video game specifically. I like watching TikToks. I like eating good food, cooking. Um, I like again like loud music and stuff like that, like EDM, hardstyle. When I go, this is something I found interesting. Apparently, like an IJ problem or like a consume last problem or consume demon problem is like you go to a store to like pick out clothes for yourself and you don't know what you want or something like that. Like if I go clothes shopping for myself, I know exactly what I want. I want that clothes that looks good on me, that doesn't look good on me. I like this, I like the texture of that, and I can just go quickly shopping in like 30 minutes or less.
I spoke to this girl who was an ESFP and she said she has demon consume. She's like play blast consume sleep. And she said for demon consume but not consume last, she will purchase things that she wants, but she won't use it. Like she'll buy like art
Mm,
supplies, but she won't do
mhm.
anything with the art supplies. So she'll consume it in a way where like she'll gather it and she'll research it, but she won't like have the deep consume of like savoring that like that
Interesting.
that thing. So do you savor like the music? Do you savor like the food? Do you savor um when you're doing something that's for yourself that's like a consume in a consume state? Do you savor it? You
Hmm.
play video games like Tears of the Kingdom, for example. Like do you savor that moment?
I guess it defines what you mean by say. Okay, so that
Like
girl you were talking about, what was?
savor, like really enjoy it, like
Yeah,
really, like yeah.
this might be my sleep last coming in, but like I have a really hard time understanding what I'm feeling. And so like when I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom, here's what I'm paying attention to. Like this is fun and I'm relaxing. I guess that's savoring.
Okay.
Or-
Hey man, it's something. It's something. So
Dude, you have no idea. Like when I'm feeling an emotion, I like break it down to like each and every individual like muscle that I'm feeling or like the cognitive function that I'm feeling, but I can't just go ahead and abstract it as like, oh, I'm having a good time. Like for me to say that's a revelation to me.
all right, man. You know what? Screw it. Let's go jump into your last animal because like all the problems here that we're talking about, it's all like last animal related. So let's just freaking jump in. Double feminine NF sleep. Okay, so you're gonna forget your emotions, and it's last, so you're not processing it, and when you process it, you forget it. So it's like a huge ass mess. Prioritization is a huge problem too because part of sleep is prioritization. So lots of huge problems. So let's go break it down. There's like so many different layers to NF sleep. So I want to break it down with you bit by bit. Okay. Let's
Yeah.
start with the emotion. Forgetting your feelings. It's pros and cons because you don't hold grudges, I guess. Because you forgot how you felt. So even if you got pissed off like really quickly, it comes in as fast as it leaves. Also, So can you talk about that a
Hmm.
little bit? Like how emotions
It,
like come and go really quickly.
you know, people would say that I am very forgiving, but maybe I've never thought about it. Maybe I just forget how I feel about people
Exactly.
so quickly. Like you said grudges, but I had this realization recently that there was a girl that I knew, and I spent a lot of time with her, and I had really deep feelings for her. And then like things broke off between us, and I'm married now, and I haven't thought of this girl in like years. And then all of a sudden, while we were talking, I was like, oh yeah, there's this one girl that I met, and then all of these feelings came flooding back. I was like, oh shoot, I've never processed the fact that I like had incredibly strong feelings for this girl. And I was just like, what the heck? Where did these feelings come from? And so, like, yeah, with grudges, I think people might assume that I'm a very forgiving person, but I think it might just go back to I'm just a very forgetful person. Like, I
Yeah.
forgot how I feel about you.
Right. Yeah. I
I don't
don't
have to
know,
think
man.
about that.
I That's a tricky situation because I feel like it's a double-edged sword. It's good because there's no like pent-up negative emotion being kept inside. I have double masculine sleep, like unlike you, right? So when I hold grudges and it stays for like years, it like I mean I catch myself now. So like for example, I have like negative emotions about someone. I just know I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, this is gonna take 2 to 3 years to melt away. So just like just wait it out. Just wait it out. There's
Wow.
two ways for it to melt. Either I let it melt over time, like a long time, like 2 to 3 years, or I
Yeah.
verbally abuse that person with my pent up emotion. So there's only two ways to get it out. So I usually go for the first method because like I'm double feminine play, so I'm really friendly and like nice. But like if you really get in my bad side, I'm gonna unleash that double masculine sleep, and it's gonna kick you in the face. So so it's different from you obviously because like you just forgot it now, but it comes and goes, right? Because like for me it does resolve itself. So if it's like a negative emotion, yes, it takes a long time to resolve, but because it's like it because I can like stay in it because it's double masculine. Like you cannot avoid your double masculine animal, right? Like yours is play, mine's is sleep. So I can process it and then come to a resolution, while yours, the fact that those feelings came back and like in a big wave, sounds like it's unresolved, but then it's gonna leave again. So then you have no chance to resolve it. So like then you're kind of like, what the hell? Like what are you supposed to do? Because it's so annoying. Like even if you wanted to, you can't because it's like it's gone, right? So it's like a double-edged sword.
Oh my gosh. I've never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right. Like I'm thinking like so like being married sometimes like when there's unresolved issues, I'll like leave and then I'm totally fine. I'm doing good. Blah blah blah. I'm at work, I'm working out and stuff like that. I go back home and then all the emotions come out. It's like I didn't even have a chance to process this. And
Yeah.
now I'm just like feeling it again as if like I was just feeling it before. And there's a time I have a really hard time with my emotions. Now it's being validated by this system, but like I had no idea if I like actually knew what love was, or like I thought that if I left, I could process my emotions because I felt better. But now what you're telling me, or like what I'm hearing, is like I never actually process my emotion when I leave a situation. I just forget it, and then I
Right.
come back and it's still just as fresh.
Right. 100%, dude. 100%. I have no clue what you're supposed to do for that situation because that's so tricky. Like I have no clue because like
I joined this community for answers, and no one has the answers.
well I mean because I don't know man like okay when you said you've spoken to like a therapist before right
Yeah,
do those feelings come back out when you talk to the therapist?
no.
So what are you supposed to do then? Because then you need to be with that emotion to resolve it. So if it doesn't pop out when you're talking to the therapist, then nothing can be resolved. So it's kind of like, and it's unresolved, you know?
I had to really go back into my mind, really think about it. I do think sometimes it goes out, but it takes intense concentration. Actually, have you heard of active imagination?
Yes, kind of. Yeah, but you can elaborate. Go ahead.
I cannot remember my emotions, like really feel and process things unless I go through this elaborate like NI imagination exercise where like I get like into a almost like midway between waking and sleeping mode. I almost have to go to sleep, like right before I go to sleep, and I can actually like get back into those memories. And so like with a therapist and stuff like that, like I have to really like tone down my play, tone down my blast, really tone down everything, get into like my super, super deep sleep
Right.
animal, and then things will come out. But the thing is, I have to like intentionally get there. And I never do it, or like I rarely do it.
Dude, I'm listening to you talk right now. I feel like the only solution to this BS thing that you're experiencing is like the moment the emotion flashes, you have to write it down right away. Because if you don't, it's gone. Because you'll forget. Like, and you can't like you can't do what like, you can't do traditional journaling like oh like at night before sleep journal. No, you have to do it like literally like when it happens, because otherwise it's gonna go away. You know.
You're right, actually. So there was a time during my therapy. I'm better now. I'm in a better state now, which I don't know how I got there. Um, actually, no, I sort of I feel like I understand how I got to this place, and it probably did start with like that recognizing the emotion, and I needed a whole like course on how to understand emotions for me. And one of the things I learned was micro journaling, like kind of like what you're saying. As soon as I feel something, write it down.
Right.
Because if it's not in the SE, then it just goes away forever
Right.
until it comes back.
Yeah, it comes back to haunt you, and then you're helpless, which is kind of annoying. You know. Um. Oh, looks like the camera froze. Oh, there we go. It came back.
Oh,
We froze for a
nice.
second.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I want to talk to you about prioritization, because
Yeah.
that's part of sleep. So when I spoke the day before, I personally he said that he said I have 50% access of my sleep, which is awesome, which it helped because I have double masculine sleep, so it helps, right? Um, so he said for me personally, prioritization was like one of the biggest issue, which I can. He said it's prioritization and SF, right? Because
Mhm.
like there's different segments to your sleep. So yours specifically, we talked about like the emotion side now, emotional processing. I want to go to the next side, which is prioritization. um Double feminine sleep, like how the hell are you supposed to prioritize the most important thing when like you're forgetting it right away, like what the most important thing is? But and also
I,
because
yeah.
you're also number one, so technically you're supposed to prioritize your success or achievement. But then because it's double feminine sleep, are you forgetting to prioritize that? Like it's such a weird contradiction. Like what the hell's going on here?
Dave, even in his audio, was telling me, "Man, you're breaking all sorts of records here. Like, I'm some sort of like freaking mess of a human, even within OPS." But he
Yeah.
was telling me I'm an average guy of my type. I don't know what that means, but like, yeah. With the in regards to prioritization, I use AI a lot. I'm like, "Hey, here's all these things I think I need to do. Tell me what I need to do," and it'll rank it for me. I'm like, "Okay, good, yeah, that makes sense." Um, I think what I've learned is that I need to prioritize being in a good mental state.
Okay.
Like I've had to learn that over a long time because if I'm not in a good mental state, I don't have the cognitive capacity to do anything else. So for me, at least right now with my mental health journey, I have to like if I'm just like here, like closer to like the emotional mind, or just like here detached to the logical mind, I need to do something about it because I'm not going to be like authentic and I'm not going to be like rational.
So speaking of authenticity, is that something that you struggle with? Because supposedly number ones are more controlled. Like they put on a facade to present themselves to the tribe, in a certain way so that they're seen in a higher light, like a higher status kind of way. Um, do you see yourself doing that or no, because you're high play? Like it's weird, right? So
I feel like I have a very carefully constructed facade that gives me, friends and influences people. Like
okay.
I'm a very religious person, so I participate a lot in my religious community and everything. So I have a lot of friends and stuff like that. Like I have a lot of acquaintances, a lot of outward friends, people I'm friendly with, and then like because I do try to be a good person. I do try to like think about Jesus and God and stuff like that. So like when I'm with people, even though I know I have the facade, I do still try to be genuinely present. I still have to try to put some genuineness behind the facade. But man, if that facade came off and I started talking kind of like as candidly as I do right now, I don't know how many people would still be my friends. In fact, I realized only recently that like I have a lot of people who like I'm friendly with and I like, I'll hang out with them once in a while, but like I don't have any people that I like genuinely want to go out of my way to go hang out with that person.
Right.
And so um that helped me think like, I need to go find friends like that. And I found a few in the OPS community and I reconnected with some friends from college. And that really made me realize like, yeah, there are certain people that I vibe with, I really like. What's the question again?
Yeah, I mean you're kind of answering it. So it's kind of like, the facade and whatnot, as a
Yeah.
number one. And well, do you have a best friend or no?
I mean, there's my wife and then
Like not your wife, not your wife, but like another person,
um
like someone maybe you grew up with or something.
no. I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. Yes. I have a best friend. She's from college, and I've only just started really recently reconnecting with her, which is why my immediate answer was like no, because I don't really talk to her that often. But like now, I'm starting to talk to her often, and she's one of my best friends. And I'm making some really good friends from the OPS community that I feel like I actually want to hang out with. So maybe with time, but like people from my childhood, I don't talk to anyone from my childhood.
I think that's demon friends right there, because like
Yeah.
I'm friends with I'm almost 40 and I have friends that are that I've known since I was in elementary school and high school to this day, so that's why I have like the savior friends going on. um so when I hear that kind of stuff that you're saying, I'm like, I do not understand, but I mean I kind of do, because I have a friend who's a number one and he got rid of all his friends from when he was young, and he's also an INTJ. I think he's a play last though. So I think he's blast, sleep, consume, play. And like all he cares about is success, like business success. He's like overly focused on like entrepreneurship and business success. And he won't hang out with you unless he knows you're also into business or you're also working hard. Like he's like a snob when it comes to friends. Like he's so like picky, So but he's demon friends, he's demon play.
Yeah.
You're high play, right? So you have like fake friends or like friendly like acquaintances, So um
It it stinks because like I imagine on my deathbed, and this is like a weird contradiction again, because I'm all full of contradictions. I do want to be surrounded by family and friends. I do want to have a lot of people who I have cultivated a genuine relationship with, and it's a push and pull. Like on the one hand, I want to have a lot of friends. On the other hand, it's just like maybe there's something to the fact that like I feel like I need to be friends with the people that I don't genuinely want to be friends with because I feel like it's a form of like service, as a Christian or whatever. Um, but I'm learning that like, I can be friends with people that I like. Kind of like I feel like I have to get into that mindset of your friend who was a savior one just like maybe not necessarily like business, but just like, share some interests, common interests, which I realize a lot of my interests aren't very common,
Right.
you know. Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy, he'll observe you. Like he'll talk to people, but he's like observing you. He's like, are you into entrepreneurship? Number one. Number two, are you working hard? Or are you like one of those people that's like wishing to succeed, but there's no like effort behind it? He's like constantly like filtering you. I can see it when he talks to people. There's like that constant filtering. He'll be friendly during like social events and stuff, but there's a facade for sure, like a huge
Mm,
facade. He's not gonna lower the facade unless he knows you're in the arena like he is. Like, because he's kicking his ass all day, like working at this like multiple businesses that he's running, right? And he's super highly successful. Um, so I can see it, like I can see like the wheels turning of like you're not part. It's like he's thinking, am I gonna let you in my club or not? But the weird thing
mm,
is he's also DE, right? So if you ask him for tips, he'll give you the tips. He'll blast something to you, but he won't hang out with you unless it's like he won't go out of his way to hang out with you unless he sees that you're putting in the work, behind the thing, which I think is good. It's like prioritizing
yeah.
the right people.
Interesting. I have this kind of like love-hate relationship with business because like I hear someone who's like super into business. I'm like, yeah, I can kind of relate. But on the other hand, like I feel like my number one ism comes out in spirituality, which is a really weird way for it to come out because like I'm constantly like trying to help people come closer to God. That's my number one ism. It's just like, hey, let's increase spirituality. Let's increase, attunement to our, the unseen world and stuff like that, or just like, and so like my number one isms kind of come out in a weird way that isn't very typical. And I feel like that also adds to the contradictory because like for me, then I'm also thinking I'm comparing myself to people that I admire, and they probably aren't number one. They're probably very like type two, three, or four.
Right.
And it's hard because like my number one isms just seem to like contradict the aim of my number one.
I think ones can hang out with twos, but it'll be difficult to hang with the threes and fours, in my opinion. Because
Yes, I can see that.
when you hang with a two, the two is also driven, not
Yeah.
not not to your level of obviously, because their goal is independence, right? Like I'm a two, so my goal is independence. That's why I'm like trying to build up like businesses and stuff while having a day job. But so the drive is there. The end goal is different. One is for success status and whatnot, while the other one's independence, right? Um, so there's like that mutual respect and both save your responsibility, right? So it's like no
Mhm.
excuses. We got to get things done no matter what. You don't feel good. Hey, that's just part of the deal. This is what you sign up for. So you
Mhm.
gotta go through it. So there's like that mutual understanding, right? And then there's also like that admiration, like the twos can look at the ones, be like, oh my god, that's so cool that you can like elevate yourself so high. And then for the ones who are like, oh my god, you have so many friends and they actually like you.
Yeah.
Like it's like, and you actually like them. It's like I wish I had this genuine connection like you do. So it's like there's like the mutual admiration, but that share of like that responsibility and drive, right? Um, so, but then when you hang out with like the threes and fours and like the, like David says, that trees are complaint machine, right? And you're like, I can't stand this, you know? Why complaining when you should be achieving, right? Like or something like that, right? Um, you know, and then fours are supposed to be your like best friends and immortal enemy, because they have no drive, but they're really nice and genuine and friendly. So it's like a weird contradiction. Like you love them,
Mhm.
but also can't stand them at the same time. So like, what's
Yeah.
what's what's your relationship with that? Like, what's your wife, by the way?
My wife does not really like OPS right now.
Okay.
So, but I did have her take like the 512 test, and it's the one where at the end they put your result on the Google sheet, and the
Okay.
Google sheet hasn't been updated with hers, and so we've both been freaking out about that. It's like, why did we do this whole thing? Anyways, I feel like my wife is a DE saver, or like maybe play. I think she has play over save or sleep definitely, but I wouldn't be surprised if she was TE. Um, but I don't know what her social type would be. I don't even know how she would interact with other people. But like my wife definitely has more friends than I do, like genuine friends.
Save your friends then.
Um, yeah, it's not by much more, but it's more than me. And so like she'll like keep in touch with people from high school. And like that inspired me to try and keep in touch with people from high school. I actually reached out to the only person that I felt like comfortable with in high school. She reached out to me, we reconnected, and then it just kind of like fizzled out. I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't connect with people. Maybe in my head, it's like I never connected with people at
Yeah.
all because
Jeez,
maybe I had that facade the whole time. Geez, now I'm depressed.
that's tough, man. Jeez.
Yeah.
This is why I don't want to be a number one. Like seriously, like I'm like I don't want to be a number one. Like there's like the it's like what Dave said, like the problems that comes to being a number one. I don't want to be a part of it. Like it's not worth it. Independent is good enough, you know. Like it's
You, I thought I was a number two, and in fact, like I kind of thought I was an NETE or something like that.
yeah,
I actually saw so much of your videos that I almost thought I was like a very similar type to you.
yeah.
And then when the typing results came back, I was like, huh, I guess I'm not Kendrick after all.
I
But
mean,
like actually,
sorry, go ahead.
well, I was just like listening to you right now. I'm like, oh, okay, I can see the differences because you do seem to care about people in a way that like I kind of wish I did, or like maybe
Yeah,
I thought I did, but like
yeah,
in reality, I don't.
yeah. Well, I'm not a four, so fours care about most people. I'm a two, so
Mhm.
I'm slightly more selective than a four. Like how did Dave describe it? So for twos, they're more picky with friends unless they're a friend from like high school or something. So they snuck in, and those friends are not really the best friends to have. But because they already
Mm.
snuck in, like they can't leave anymore. So I have friends like that, and I would probably not be friends with them if I met them right now. But because I met them in a different context, like I'm glad
Mm.
that I'm friends with them. So um but like fours are just like friendly with everyone, right? So
Oh, that's so interesting. Like you made me realize that like one of the things that I unconsciously do is I filter out friends by like being very bold about who I am. So like I'll usually just be very straight up about like my religious experience or like my political leanings. Not like not too much, obviously, but just enough so I can start gauging out who are the kinds of people that like would like genuinely want to be around me. And
right.
so I feel like I just have like an unconscious filter that just pushes away like people that would be negative around me. But my wife, told me that I might be subconsciously pushing out people who might be good influences in me. I don't believe her, or maybe she might have a point, but like, yeah, like I feel like I have this just like persona where it's like, oh, we can be like outward buddy buddy here, but like if you want to come into my FI, oh, you have to pass a bunch of like different like psychological tests.
Well, I think yours is a little bit more honest though, because it's like direct. Because like what Dave said with like feminine DE people, it's like or feminine TE or feminine FE, it's like a liar function because it's like we're acting friendly towards you
Yeah,
inside, like we don't really like
yeah,
you. So
yeah.
so there's people that might pretend that they're like they agree with your values, but they really don't because they have
Hmm.
their feminine play or something, double feminine play or something.
Yeah.
So it can be tricky like that, right? So it's really hard to say. I get what you're trying to say, and I think that's like the right way to go about it, honestly. Um, and I wish I was doing what you're doing because like that would filter out people faster. Like I wish I had
It
like a
filters
list.
out people really fast. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
does.
wish. That sounds awesome. Like I'm wasting so much time doing this double feminine play, but I can't even stop it. I think the biggest thing I learned is like you cannot control. You can't if you have a double feminine animal, you cannot make it double masculine all of a sudden. Like you cannot. It's like if it's double feminine, it's gonna be double feminine. Like I seriously tried going up to people and be like less friendly, but I couldn't because my play is double feminine. I literally cannot. Like unless I hate you, that masculine side cannot come out, or like I strongly
Interesting.
dislike you. Like I cannot. So I'm like, okay, um, I'm not even gonna bother because it's not gonna work. Like I just want to smile at people because like it's double feminine. It's so annoying, man. So whatever,
Is
whatever.
your FI demon?
Yeah, I'm the same as you. And so like what we have in common is we're both DE. We both have demon FI. Difference though is you have a third, I have a second. So my FI is slightly stronger than yours, but then your TE is stronger than mine because yours is second, mine is third, right? Um, we're both demon sensory, so we're both stupid when it comes to sensory stuff. That what we both have in common. A little bit different because mine's SI, so I'll have a better timeline than you. But if someone were to throw like a basketball or a football at my face, you'll be better at dodging it than me, right? Because you have SE, like a little bit better, you
I
know.
feel I feel like if I were to really let myself, yeah, I could. I think maybe it was just something like growing because I also had asthma and stuff, and I just like had this self-identity that I was a nerdy
Yeah,
kid. But I when I like really hang out with the nerdy kids, I'm like, nah, I'm not that bad.
exactly. Yeah, I think so. I think you'll be okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we both have feminine intuition, so we both have that in
Hmm.
common. So we're both
Hmm.
like forgetful of concepts that we've learned, which is kind of annoying. Like you think you've organized your concept. Oh no, you forgot. Haha, or like, what was that amazing concept I gathered? It's gone. It pisses me off, you know?
I don't know if I relate with that fully because
Really? Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'll remember something and then I can keep it in my mind for a long time. Like I've been practicing trying to like write out my stuff, and maybe because I like write out on Facebook and things on occasion, that's why I remember a little bit easier. But like
Yeah.
I feel like I'll come up with something and I'll be like, I can remember that, and then I'll remember it. Like for some reason they
Not the SE though? It's not the masculine SE? Or are you sure it's the
I'm
NI?
maybe help me understand because like it's the connection that I've made. Or could it be the SE? Because it's like I'll read something and then I'll remember it. Or like how something looks or how something acts and I'll remember it. Um, am I forgetting all my NI stuff? I don't know.
Oh, dude, you need to explore this. This is troubling. Maybe
Dude,
you're understanding
you're
SE total.
scaring me. You're scaring me because like if both of my introverted animals are feminine and they just like you're reminding me of a fear that I have that like somehow like I had this reoccurring fear recently that like I have no foundation, like it'll just all crumble. Like
Yeah,
I think the feminine introverted animals really puts words to that that just somehow just like who I am on the inside just doesn't exist. It's all just like the outward persona.
that's scary, man.
Dude, you have no idea. Like it's so funny because like I feel like my inner experience is very traumatizing. Like I just don't know. Like that's the thing. Like maybe I have like a very deep and dark inner world and I don't want it to be that way. And I'm constantly trying to fight it, but
Right.
maybe I gotta accept it. Because like when I do these active imagination things, I'll see some horrific things. I don't know if this is like masculine sensory or feminine intuition. I don't know what it is, but like, oh, you were talking about feminine and of sleep and about projecting your emotions into the future. I heard you say that in one of your videos,
Yes.
masculine SC right there. And then I was like, oh my gosh, like it makes so much sense. Because for me, when I'm thinking, I can think of like horrific things just for fun. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, what would happen if my kids get cut in half and their, entrails are everywhere? Like, what would I do
Oh,
at that case? I know. Or like, what happens if I get divorced? Well, what would happen? Like I would think of these things and then I'll just be like, okay, what's the plan? But then like, I would never actually imagine how I would actually feel in a situation like that unless I'm like in that halfway point between sleeping and being awake or like in a really deep meditation and then the feelings will come out like I didn't really understand how I would feel if my wife wanted to divorce me until I had a dream where I was actually feeling it or like I was having this active imagination about just like this obsession that not obsession but like this relationship that I have with like overeating and like I would see like this demon that represented my overeating and then like I never realized how fearful I am of that until I got into that meditation. So it's like yeah, dude, the end of sleep is a concept that's I feel either going to help me or just keep me scared for my life. Sorry, I went off into tangent on that.
no, it's cool. So it sounds like your imagination is like very IJ like. It's like some kind of chaos that's gonna happen. That's why it's like dark, right? Because my
Hmm.
girlfriend, who's an INTJ, also imagines all this like horrific things. So it sounds
Oh,
it sounds like
okay.
it's like an IJ thing to imagine this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I tried to talk to my girlfriend about it. I'm like, you don't have to, there's other possibilities besides those like negative ones that you're thinking, right? She's like, I'm not built that way to think about those other ones. I'm only built to see like the bad ones. Uh,
Interesting.
because it's like you're an IJ and you're looking for chaos to avoid, right? So you could only picture all the chaos that could potentially come, like getting a divorce or someone getting cut in half, you know. So uh
When my when my social type one gets activated, I think I can get like really into positive imagination.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's interesting. I think I go back and forth between like positive and negative. I don't think it's negative most of the time, honestly. I just think it's just like I'm bored. What's the craziest thing that could happen?
I think you need both. So feeling what's gonna happen if like you get a divorce or all that stuff. I think that's super important too, because it gives you perspective, right? Of what's like really important to you.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't necessarily think that's like a bad. Like I did have a dream once where like, have you played a game called StarCraft when you were a kid or something?
I heard of it. I kind of know what you're talking about.
Okay, have you heard of like the Zerg?
I think I can imagine what you're talking about. Yeah.
Like the alien? Have you seen the movie
Yeah.
Starship Troopers? No? Okay.
No, I haven't.
Okay, anyway, so like I dreamt was like this alien cut my girlfriend in half, and I freaked out, and I was like so horrified. And then when I woke up, I realized how important she was to me, because like I don't process this really like often, because like I'm sleep class like you know.
Yeah.
But it's this kind of moment. The difference between us though is I'll remember that feeling because I have double masculine sleep. So like even right now I'll remember it, right? Like I'll carry it with me, and then like next time like I have a fight with her, and I'm thinking, you know what? This is we could talk it out because ultimately she's important, so important to me. So
I wish I could do that. Like I hear people talk about that all the time. It's like, oh, when you're in a bad, space with your wife, just remember how much you love her. It's like I cannot remember anything, any emotion that I have. Like for me, when it's in a bad space, it almost feels like, oh shoot, I never loved her. And that's scary for me.
yeah, man, I don't know, man. It's hard for you. I'm not even gonna lie, man. You have like you got the short end of the stick here. No offense. Like it's like no offense. Like this is terrible. Like
No, dude, like so because of my religiosity, like I feel like I've had a lot of these spiritual experiences where I feel like almost supported in this like scary world of mine. Like I'll have like what I attribute, and that's the thing. Like there's probably many ways to interpret this, but it's either God or like some really really good version of my demons coming out and like helping me remember these things at random times, like when they're really necessary. Like it'll come up in a really like peaceful emotion to help me remember like what I actually care about and stuff like that. And it's like, huh. So it'll come, but it's not something I can like. Maybe it's that's the thing. It's not something I can control. You know, like I can't consciously think about like, oh, this is the feelings that I have for my wife. When we first met.
I don't think you're screwed though, because I'm thinking now, like I'm thinking about people that's your type but lead sleep, like the
Mhm.
NIFI version of you, but double masculine also, but they're leading with that like double feminine NF sleep. And they're okay. They seem okay with that emotion stuff. So there's definitely a solution, but you have to talk to those guys, I think, to find it. Like you, but like NIFI and double masculine. There's like a bunch in the group in like the Facebook group, but like I had an INTJ coach long time ago that he was super helpful to me, but he's also number one. He has like no friends. Um and like but he's because he's like self-about tribe, he'll openly tell you, I don't need friends. He'll actually just say it out loud.
Mm.
He's not even gonna bother with a facade. He'll just tell you, I don't need friends. Right. So he's like, his name's Caleb Jones. He has like a YouTube channel called Sovereign Man or something, or Caleb Jones, or he has like a blog. Anyway, check it out. He I think he's similar to you. Like I think sleep, blast, play, consume, INTJ. Um, and I did notice like if it's like you but NIFI, you can work within it. So I think
Mm.
I don't think you're fucked. I think you're okay. I think
Yeah.
there's a way. You just have to watch those guys because they know something. And Tony Robbins, obviously, he's double masculine also, and the same stack as you. So, and he's figured it out, right? Like the only he hasn't figured out is sleeping, because like he actually said he still has shitty sleep. Like I watched a recent video, and he said I still can't sleep. So, um,
Oh, what's interesting is like I've been getting bad sleep in the past 3 years of my life because I have kids. But when the kids sleep well, I sleep perfectly fine. Like I don't know. I don't have issues with sleep. Like I'll go to sleep, really good sleep, wake up, totally fine.
oh, I get it now. So when I interview different people, even if they're type twins, I notice they're different, and I think the biggest difference is everyone, it comes to the last animal, really. So everyone's last animal, I feel like there's like maybe like four different dimensions to it, and if you're like let's say for you sleep last, the dimension that you're unable to access is going to be different from another dude, another girl or guy, that what they can access, you know? So for you, it seems like the emotional processing is the hardest part to access, but the sleeping is not the hardest thing, right? Speaking of which, let's cover the last part of NF sleep that we haven't covered yet, which is the mission, the code. Do you have a mission or code that you adhere to? It
I was
could,
just listening.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have something like that? Like it's like a saying usually, and if you need examples, I can give you. But go ahead.
I know, yeah. I was listening to you talking to someone with NF Sleep last about that, and I was reflecting on mine, like, what is it? Yeah, I don't think it can be summarized in a sentence. I just have a vibe of what I'm trying to go for.
What is it? You can say it, even if it's like messy because you haven't like concisely worded.
Um, it's not just messy, it's also highly religious. Like, I guess some context, like I believe that life goes on after this life, and like there's also resurrection, so like coming back to earth and stuff. So like, okay, if I am going to live forever, and not just me, but like everyone that I've ever met is going to live forever, and I have to like develop a relationship between me and the world and everyone that's lived before me, everyone that's alive now, and everyone that's alive ahead of me. I want to have the best possible relationship with them and God for all of eternity. Like for me, somehow having the highest relationship, the most deepest, most intimate relationship with as many people as possible. That is my goal, which is so weird, as a type one. Like for some reason, I'm so driven to try to connect with people. And at the same time, I don't want to. So
Yeah,
I feel like I'm constantly trying to work against myself. And I think that's been a big issue of mine. Like sometimes I hate myself and I beat myself up like mentally very hard because like the social type one comes out so heavily, and the kinds of things I think about people or the feelings that I have about people, just like a lot of hatred towards them and myself. And I'm trying to fight against my own self-hatred and hatred of other people, but like maybe I just gotta learn to accept it and roll with it, like Dave said. And yeah, it's a weird mantra to have, to care so much about people and then not like naturally do that.
yeah, it's definitely weird. All right, dude. I have last two questions for you, and we'll wrap up the interview. Okay. So the first one is
Yeah.
in regards to what you just said. Um, it sounds like in reality, there's a sweet spot where you can put parameters and whatnot. Where like parameters in terms of like connecting with people at a deep level, but like the question is like you want this for eternity, but for with who, right? I don't think you want, because you obviously you don't like all the tribe members. Like you want to like all of them, but the reality is you don't, and that's fine. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. So like what does the parameter look like then? Like because it sounds like it's not gonna be everybody, because you freaking don't like everyone, you know. No one does.
Mhm.
um so who is it going to be? Like what kind of person do you want to have like that deep connection with, like what's the parameters here? Just
Uh, the Christian theology is so weird, man. Because like the person I see that relationship with is God Himself. And the thing is, the way that I see God is that He has that intimate union with everyone, even the most vile of people in the whole world.
yeah, but you're
Like
not God,
my
man. So
well, the weird thing about Mormon theology is that like, we do believe that in eternity we can like walk towards ending up having that same kind of like infinitely pure love. Now, obviously, in this life, it's not possible, but like
right.
I do want to strive to like really love and care for my enemies. But like I understand, and in the psychological realm and in the theological realm, there is a distance, right? Obviously, you're not going to be intimately united with someone who's your straight up sworn enemy. So I guess for me, it's I think I see it a lot in the OPS community, just people who are into self-growth, self-development. But like not just for themselves, like a genuine self-growth, like, hey, let's get better as people, let's love, let's grow, let's give. And I think that's what I want to unite with. I want to unite with people who, care about that stuff. So I guess that's my mantra, to unite with the work of helping people grow.
I see, gotcha. All right, man.
Yeah.
One last thing. So I'm gonna open this to you. So is there any topic that we haven't discussed that you really want to discuss about, or do you have any questions for me? So I leave this open to you because like some people I've interviewed in the past said, oh, I wish we talked about this. I'm like, okay, well, the platform's yours. Is there something that you'd like to discuss or you'd like to ask me or something that you'd like to address or like to say to people? This is your moment, man.
Okay. So I can think of like, I just want to quickly like talk about like in not really detail, but just like highlight overview of some things that affected my life or might be relevant for people who are my type. Then talk about community that I'm in case anyone's interested, and then ask you questions about like, I don't know, what you saw between us, what you think would be helpful, and what you've seen helped you in your life. So I guess for the first one, freaking blaster lesson right here. Yeah, so when I was growing up, I just always knew that I was going to make a lot of money. Like I in my head, I just always knew that I was special, I was important, things were going to work out, and I've had a lot of like spiritual signs that that was the case too. That I just kind of like need to take it slow, be patient with myself, but things will grow and things like that, and things have. And I guess Dave said this too. It's like the universe chose you. So you're crossed up wiring, whatever, it's going to draw you down a path where if you don't figure it out, you're screwed. But if you figure it out, you're going to succeed very well.
Right.
And I think, yeah, I think it has. So if anyone has my same messed up wiring, really figure out the inner world, because if you don't, if you don't figure out your life purpose, it will lead to some really drastic things. So I can see that. Two, yeah, active imagination, all this like Jungian stuff. If anyone wants to like chat with me in the community, there's a Discord community called the Hidden Stone. So if you go to thehiddenstone.org, we have a small Discord community. So that'd be fun to talk about this active imagination stuff for anyone who's like NI Dom. I'm sure a lot of NI dominant people would love that. And then like finally, I guess back to you, like dude, like what have you taken away from interviewing so many people? Because I respect your work so much, man. Like you're honestly a role model of mine. Like I want to do more stuff like what you're doing, just like getting out into the community, learning about people, starting up a business, like what drives you? And after that, like any tips for me as a person?
Geez, man, put me in the spot. I'm sleep last. Well, I mean, I, for me, I rather learn from the actual source than just pure theory alone. I think that's the biggest motivation. At the end of the day, I'm an observer, so I'm a gatherer. So, and I'm lead playing, so I'm gathering from the tribe. So, I think when I was younger, when I was in high school, the counselor told me I should be a psychologist, and my mom, who's a very practical person, thinks that psychology you will not have a job after you graduate, right? So I end up studying something else, which was a bad thing. Now I'm older. I have clients that are psychologists. I work as a personal trainer, right? That's one of my jobs. And they're telling me, it's like, dude, you should be a psychologist, like, because I'm talking to them at like equal grounds. They have a PhD, I don't, but I know so much about psychology that they're like, how the hell do you know all this shit, right? You know, like I can keep up with their conversation even though I don't have a PhD. And I'm not saying like I'm super smart. It's just that I've gathered a lot from talking to so many people. That's why, because like I said, gather from the source, and that's the best way to learn how to communicate with other people, see what motivations are, see how different you really are from other people. Like, I mean, OPS for me was like an eye opener. It's like, oh my god, someone's fear, the sleep is always where the fear comes from, or like what's personal to you, right? So you have NF sleep, I have SF sleep. So the thing that we're going to be insecure about is completely different, right? Like, or someone has ST sleep. That's a huge one. People with ST sleep are scared of being incompetent or being labeled as incompetent, you know? And then once you see that, then you can see it everywhere. So when like you're talking to someone and they're freaking out, you're like, what is this person freaking out about? It's like, oh, that's why they're upset, because I'm making them feel like they're incompetent. But it's different from anti-sleep also, right? Because anti-sleep is like, do you feel stupid? One is stupid and one is incompetent. They're different. Even though they both have TI, Of course, being incompetent will piss off the other guy too, vice versa. But like one is worse than the other, right? So I think so for me, that's like one of the motivation. The other motivation is my YouTube channel. So I'm trying to grow it. So I'm trying to put my name onto something. So I have Demon One. as a 2. So it's like third, right? So I'm like, you know what? I'm like getting older. I don't have anything to my name. I want something in my name. That's something I can call my own, something that I built from with my own like effort, and my personality channel is that's what I'm building, and it's for me. Yes, it's 100% selfish. I'm not sorry that it's selfish, but I built it in a way where it's like, yes, even though I'm building it for me, it's also helping a lot of people. So it's still I'm still a double-sided at the end of the day. Like I cannot swing just like one way. It's like impossible. Because ultimately, if I do want to help people while being successful at the same time. I want both, right? So double-decider life, which you can relate, obviously. It's double-decider. So yeah, man. What was your other question again?
Yeah, just out of this whole conversation, just curious if you have like just any thoughts, any tips for me. And before that, I just want to say like really inspiring. I love what you were saying, and I like that you were saying it was a double decider move to do that. I'm like, you know what? If I'm gonna go and start my own future, I probably need to remember that. Like, do the double deciding, do something for myself, but then also like help people along the way. I was thinking like consultancy or mentoring or something like that with tech, but anyways, I'm just rambling. But I thanks for the inspiration, man. I really appreciate it. And yeah, the final question was like, out of this whole hour, like, what are your thoughts and advice for people like me?
If I were to narrow it down, step one, you need to talk to people that is your jumper cousin type. Double masculine also. NIFI. So there's a few in the group. I don't know if you know them. If you don't, I can connect you with them. Because I know a few. So you definitely have to connect with those guys because you'll learn how to use your sleep because they have it first. So they're using it all day, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Those guys already figured it out. Or obviously people with lead FI still want to be unique and different. So I think one of the biggest thing I've learned over the years is don't reinvent the wheel until you reach a certain level of competency first. So reach a certain level of mastery, get to 80% there. Once you have 80% access of your NF sleep last, then you can start trying to be original to add on to your thing. Because otherwise you're wasting your time. You're gonna try to be original from the get-go because all FI people has that need to be original. It's like weird. I don't know why. Just like with TI, they want to be, there's like a part of you that wants to be competent or like intelligent, right? So for us, it's like original, right? Like it's like the INFP versus like the ISTP. ISTP wants to beat everyone, out compete everyone, while like the INFP wants to be like out original everyone, like I'm more different than you, it's like a little bit, yeah, it's interesting how that is. Like I remember I did that all IP panel and I was like, they're like, I see the TIs and FIs looking at each other and they're like, especially the TIs are looking at the F and they're like, what the fuck is this FI stuff? Like, what the fuck are these people doing? They're so weird, right? But they're also fascinated. It's like, it's so weird, right? Because FI is freaking weird, like there's no denying it. Like we both have FI, so like deep down inside, we're not logical at all,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like outwardly we seem like it, but we're not. It's like it's you're being fooled by a TE, we are not. So that's the first step for sure. Second step is you already know this. You're doing it already, micro journaling. The moment the emotion kicks in, you have to write it right away. If you don't, you're screwed. And here's the kicker: you have to read it again. You have to read it.
What? I have to
You can't just write it, you have to read it.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. And then you have to make a big ass list of it and like read it. And then you have to keep reading it until it feels like it doesn't give you that big emotional reaction anymore. Because that when it doesn't give you a big emotional reaction anymore, you know it's resolved. But until it stops happening, it's still a problem. So you have to keep reading it. You have to keep reliving it, and it's annoying. But that's what you gotta do. That's why it's sleep. Yeah, go ahead.
The advice is good when you hate it.
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. My psychologist told me to do this too, because like when I relax, I play video games, right? He's like, why don't you just lay down and rest? Actually rest instead of like playing video games, And I'm like, he's right. He's right.
Oh no.
He's like, you think you're relaxing, you're playing video games, but you're not. You're still your mind's still active. The whole idea of rest is it stops being active. And I'm like, oh, and like, so now I catch myself. Like, let's say I'm in the middle of my workday and I'm like, I feel like I'm shutting down. I need to relax. I'm gonna go play some video games. I'm like, they're like, oh no, 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 no. You're gonna lay in bed and gonna do nothing. You're gonna put away your phone too. Because when you surf the net, your mind is still active. No. You're literally gonna lay down and close your eyes. And it's so hard, man. It's so hard. So it's gonna be hard for you too.
I like what Dave said. He said, like, when you try to do your demons, your body will protect you and flood you with cortisol. I was like, okay, if I feel the cortisol, again, this is like me not associating stress, but like if I feel the
Yeah.
cortisol, then I know I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah. It's kind of a funny way to think about it, but yes.
I have to tag my emotions and like the weird sensations that go up and down my body as like, okay, this means I'm happy. This means I'm sad.
But it also works for motivation too, though. Because like I remember yesterday, I was like, I started doing YouTube shorts lately. And
Hmm.
it's my actually my buddy that told me, like my number one friend. He's like, "Hey Kendrick, you want to build your YouTube channel? You don't have that much time because you have a day job, and then you have a part-time job after your day job. So how are you gonna get ahead in your business if you don't do that, right? I mean, his first advice to get rid of my friends. So I'm like, no, no, I'm not a number one. I like my friends. I'm not gonna get rid of them. So he's okay. Shorts is your answer, and then I'm like putting together some like the content for shorts. It still takes a lot of time, right? And I don't want to do it. I'm like, I just don't want to do it. I'm so tired, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, because like in my day job, I'm a recruiter for travel nurses, right?
Hmm.
So sometimes I'm reading the nurse's file and there's like a red flag, like this nurse is difficult, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to call this nurse, you know. And then I'm thinking to myself, you know what, Kendrick, if you can't talk to this difficult nurse, how are you gonna have the guts to chase your dream? You know, because everything that requires you to achieve your dream requires a certain level of discomfort. So if you're not willing
Hmm.
to be uncomfortable to talk to this nurse that could put you in an uncomfortable situation, how are you gonna get through when there's no external force like a job that's forcing me to do my job? Like it's just me and my dream. How am I gonna achieve my dream if I'm not willing to go in the cold deep water to cross it to get to the end goal? So yeah, and then I made the video yesterday, even though I didn't feel like it. I felt good after because I conquered
Yeah,
that like you know.
interesting. My wife keeps telling me that I need to go out into the rain because I hate getting rained on. Like the SC chaos of just like being internal body temperature being fine and then getting rained on and then I hate it. And my wife's like, just go and do it. I'm like, now you're telling me all this stuff. Oh, I get it though.
Well, this means you need to follow David Goggins then, because he's like the king. He's number one, like you, and he's the ultimate. Like he puts himself in uncomfortable situation every single day, not just like once in a while. He does it every day. So I think those would be my advice then. Follow David Goggins, talk to people, NIFI version of you, double masculine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then journal your negative emotion right when it happens, and then read it later. And make a big list. Keep reading it until it stops triggering you. You know. So yeah.
All right, man. Well, maybe we'll talk here like in a year or something. I'll be
Yeah,
like, I've done all that. It still doesn't work. Or maybe it does. And I'm just
we'll
like
see. We'll
slightly
see.
avoiding
We'll
it.
find out. Maybe we won't. Who knows? All right, man. Good
Oh
talking
man.
with you. Take care. See you, Jared.
Take care. Bye.